From personal experience, I think it's really important to take care of yourself physically, because that definitely helps you with confidence, right?
Absolutely.
And I was just wondering, like, what are the characteristics of good emotional health? Like, how would one know?
If you're emotionally healthy? Yes, so there
Yeah.
are many characteristics to being emotionally healthy. And I think the first, like you rightly mentioned, is about, feeling confident. So it's about having a positive outlook and a high sense of self-worth. And that comes when you're emotionally, very, very healthy. So a sense of belonging, you feel like you belong, right? And a sense of purpose. And when you bring in a sense of meaning into your life, when you do something with a lot of meaning and with a lot of purpose, a positive outlook towards life, and also your ability to share your feelings appropriately. And when I say that, just having one person that you can confide in uh, will have a massive benefit on your emotional health by just sharing whatever you're feeling and whatever you're going through. Even if it's just with one person, whoever that person may be, it can have a massive benefit on your emotional health. And autonomy, which is again independence, emotional stability in being able to manage all your emotions, and resilience. So these are typically some of the characteristics you would know. If you have all of these, that those are good signs of being emotionally healthy.
So, ma'am, would you say that, emotional health, it definitely affects, physical health? Like, could you shed more light on that?
Yes, absolutely. Like I've been saying, I can't stress enough the importance of physical health, and definitely emotional health and physical health go hand in hand. And in order to be, if you want to actually have good emotional health, what do you first do? You first start taking care of your body. And how do you do that? You have regular eating habits, adopting healthier eating habits, like you mentioned rightly, exercising regularly on a daily basis, and getting adequate sleep. So those are, and following a routine is again very important. I'm sure all of you will be able to, your age group would be able to relate to that, right? Yeah, so sometimes the routines go haywire, and when that happens, there's a dip, you don't feel like exercising, and it's just like a vicious cycle. So poor emotional health could also lead to psychosomatic issues. And what happens is that you develop a deep sense of lethargy, and you start actually withdrawing from people, and from family. You just completely cut yourself off, and you withdraw yourself. You kind of go into a shell, and you stop exercising. And what happens when you stop exercising? When you stop exercising, that again leads to a whole lot of stress induced physical health problems and lifestyle disorders. So that's why I've been stressing the importance, especially for adolescents, the importance of having a very, very active and a very healthy lifestyle. And so yes, that's the reason emotional health and physical health have a bearing on each other. In fact, they go hand in hand, and it's very important to address the root cause if they're not in sync with each other. So that's very,
Yeah.
very important. Yes.
So there's one thing I noticed with, people my age, is that there's like a half that has a routine that works out every single day. And there's like a half that does exactly the opposite. They don't sleep on time and things like that. And it's pretty amazing how, the lockdown has brought such a big change in us. And,
Absolutely.
there are people who are actually, positive and confident enough to, exercise every day. That's truly amazing. Yeah. So
I think
I
it's
wanted
just
to know.
yeah, sorry. So it's just about, uh, however boring a routine may sound, but that will help in the long run. You don't have to probably do every single thing every single day, but having a general structure in place and getting in that 30 minutes of exercise, and doing something creative, something out of something that you enjoy, will all add up in the long run. For you to be emotionally healthy.
Yeah. So now, are there any signs one should notice, or be aware of because of like poor emotional health? And what could be, possibly like the health goal one, could incorporate in their lives?
Right. So yes, there are definitely many signs that you could look out for in terms of poor emotional health. And I would like to stress that it's not just about being aware for yourself. But if you even notice it in people around you, like your close friends, your family, you need to be mindful and see if they need help. So the first thing is if you're consistently feeling sad or consistently feeling hopeless, so that's one of the signs. Irritability, you're more irritable than usual. Anger, aggression. Uh, for me, this would be the red flag is frequent crying and having breakdowns. If you're constantly feeling teary and you're constantly having breakdowns, then that for me is definitely a red flag. The issue needs to be addressed and you need to seek help. So the other sign, which again for me would be a red flag, is withdrawal from family and friends. And I mentioned this earlier. Even the most vivacious and the most outgoing of people, um, people who are extroverts, if their emotional health is not in place, they tend to withdraw into a shell and they tend to start kind of being away from family and friends. And so that's again not okay. So that again is a red flag for me. Loss of interest in activities that you once used to love. So for example, you would probably love music, but then if your emotional health is poor, emotional and mental health is poor, you probably would just not like the sign of the sound of your guitar or your piano, or listening to music. So things that you actually used to love would definitely not be there anymore for you. And there would be a drastic change in your eating and your sleeping patterns. So these are some of the signs, Raymond, that one can look out. And the first step is like by being aware. And like I said, please don't look at it only from like an individualistic point of view. Please make sure that even if people around you are showing these signs, there is help that is always available. So it's important that you reach out to them and find out if they need any help. And you also asked me about the possible health goal. And I think the first thing is just being aware of your possible emotions and the way you react, your reactions. Start expressing your feelings more appropriately. That can make a huge difference. Trying to manage stress, and also connecting with others, and more importantly, finding purpose and meaning, finding joy in whatever you choose to do. It could be anything, but if you find some sense of purpose and meaning and you start beginning to enjoy whatever you're doing, that can make like a huge difference in maintaining good emotional health.
Yes, ma'am, that makes a lot of sense. Connecting is definitely something we need, and it's really hard now because because of the lockdown, we're just stuck at home, right? But that has like brought a variety of apps, and
Yes.
certain apps, like there are just so many apps where you can just connect with people, and there are like certain dating apps like Tinder, Bumble. What are your views on things like this? Is it negative or positive? Do you think these are like a good medium to talk to people and meet new people?
Yes, so I've heard of Clubhouse also. I think that is there, which is again, I think, an interactive platform. So everything in moderation, I think, is okay. Yes, I understand that it is the lockdown and we're all stuck at home, and especially for people of your age, I mean, my heart really goes out to all of you, because I know how difficult it is to stay. Because for all of you, your peers and your friends are your world right now, especially during this age. When children are much younger, it's okay. I mean, we can keep them entertained at home. Parents can actually engage with them. But in your age group, it's very difficult to do that, because you're, in that in-between stage, and there's not much. Obviously, you can't go out. So you have to resort to a lot of, Zoom meetings, and, like you talked about, all these apps. And I think anything in moderation, Raymond, is okay, as long as, like I said, being aware of what you do, being self-aware is extremely important. So as long as that is there, I think it's perfectly all right.
So this comes to the last question and the most important question.
Right.
Is there any helpline or hotline to approach if help is required? How do I or the people in need get help?
Yes, so that's again a much needed and a very, very important question. So I'm glad you asked that. So at a fundamental level, Raymond, help is always available, and you could look at three stages. The first would be is to confide in your immediate family, right? Because they are your biggest supporters and your biggest well-wishers. So your immediate family could comprise of your parents, your grandparents, your siblings, your aunts, uncles, your cousins, and your closest friends. So basically people who form your inner circle. I think the first step would definitely be is to confide with them, because they're always cheering for you, and they're always on the lookout for your well-being. So it's, I think the most common thing to do would be is to kind of approach them first. Yes, at the second level, it would be meeting with a trained professional or a counselor who could help. And at the final or the third level is more at a clinical level, where if you have like a medical problem and you have issues that the first two set of people actually can't help you with, and it requires medical intervention, would be is to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And I would like to tell all the youngsters that please remember that you don't have to suffer in silence. There is help that is available from multiple avenues these days, and it's important to kind of reach out. And if you want to help yourself, you need to be open to reach out to all these people who can help you. And it's no longer a stigma or a taboo to get help and to seek help. And if you want to be emotionally healthy, I think please remember that you don't have to suffer in silence. Please go and talk to whomever you're comfortable with, and then you can take it one step at a time.
Thank you, ma'am. This has been great. The things you said really made me think about my friends and families. And it definitely would be, it made it easier for me to understand, the people in need, and I'd love to help them. And I definitely would live by the adage, no child or anyone left behind.
Thank you so much, Raymond, for having me here. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you for having me.
Subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon.